Stefan, what's up, my man? Aman, what's up? What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. Don't be shy. Say hi. Satha, what's up, my man? Happy Friday, everyone. Oh, yeah. See a few of you out there. Don't be shy. Say hi. Where you're from. Let's go, everyone. Let's go. Greg, what's up? Sunny side up. Bavili, India, right? I'm from Oakland, California. I'm on the town. A few more minutes. Still waiting on Chase to call in here. Chase, if you're seeing this on YouTube, hit me up. You need to on the cell phone. All right, guys. You know what? I need to go ahead and pick this week's winners. If you put I Love SEO last week, I'm going to pick your names right now. All right. Let's see. Winner number 1. Frankie 2 Socks. Email me. Dre@SEO.video. Aman, what's up? Email me. You're a winner. You get to pick 1-year Rank Math plugin, Access Pro, or IMG course 1 week, or the SEO sales framework from codersales.io. All right, let me pick a couple more people. Stefan, I see you're here. Email me, Dre@SEO.video. Jonathan Roberts. All right, let me go ahead and pick one more. All right, Tomishin Awalabi. Email me. All right, I see Chase. What's up, Chase? How you doing, my man?
What's up, dude?
All right, I can hear you just well. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. All right. If you got a chance to check out those topics I sent over, if those are cool, let me know. I'm gonna go over a few like news in the beginning, and then I'll introduce you.
Sounds good.
All right, Adrian, what's up, my man? All right, guys, less than 2 minutes left. Vinod, what's up, my man? Hobby, what's up? Thanks for coming every week. Let's get this party started. Oh yeah. All right, less than a minute left. All right. 10 seconds.
Yeah. Hey, time to get it started. No delay. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre de Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre de Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released in the past week into about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest this week is the CEO of Chase Reiner Marketing, Chase Reiner. Before we get started, I want to say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Vinod, Hobby, Aman, Greg, Sasha, Mon, Stefan, Facade. What's up, everyone? Shout out to my new Traffic Sculpting group. Can't wait to see what we can come up with. Shout out to Polska. I recently received an excellent email from one of our viewers. He actually has been applying the things that we've seen he's been learning here on the SEO video show, and their website is now ranking 1st, 3rd, and 4th. Huge congrats, Polska. Be sure to put I Love SEO in the live chat or comment below for this week's giveaway. You'll have an option to pick from Rank Math, a pro license, IMG courses, or codersales SEO sales frameworks. So be sure to do that. Tune in to the pre-show and countdown to see if you won. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and to hit that notification bell to know when we go live. All right, now let's get on with the show.
This is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. Why did Tiger Woods start studying SEO? To get his #1 ranking back.
Let's start with some Google news. John Muller posted a new video out there on Google Search Console. Let's check it out.
And now over to Search Console. Google Search Console is a fantastic way of finding out how your website is doing with regards to Google search. After verifying your website there, you can get lots of information. For example, where and how are people finding your website? Are there any issues you could resolve to make your site easier to find? All of that and more. Last time, we talked about Regex. That functionality was so well received that the team expanded on it and has recently launched Negative Regex. It gives you all of the information that doesn't match what you provided. And that's a positive thing. For example, you could use a regex to cover all variations of your brand's name and then see all queries that didn't mention the name. This is a way of splitting branded search terms from unbranded ones. So +1 for negative regex, if you ask me. Then we recently launched Search Console Insights. Search Console and Google Analytics give a fantastic amount of information, but it can be a bit too much if you don't have time to regularly understand what it all means. Search Console Insights distills this information down and gives site owners a nice and easy overview of what's been happening with regards to their site.
Google Search Console is a must for all SEOs. It's very powerful and it's free. On the InLinks channel, Colin Nielsen reminds us why we should take Google's guidelines for a grain of salt and not act right away.
We're basically training ourselves to watch what Google does and not just watch what Google says. And this is very applicable in the Google My Business world. You've got your Google My Business guidelines, which have these very explicit, maybe they're not very explicit, but somewhat explicit instructions. But the way that Google actually acts often contradicts or is outside of what they're saying. So I'm not telling people to break Google's guidelines, but what I'm saying is to be put your thinking hat on and pay attention to what Google does. Perfect example for this. So if we remember back in 2019, everybody was talking about how Google was going to strip the gold stars based on schema from the organic search results. But for the next 2 years, we still saw the gold stars appear in the search results when certain types of schema were added. So basically, if you decided to take Google's advice in 2019 and stop doing any markup for some of these categories, you would have missed out on 2 years worth of increased click-through rates, activity, getting these gold stars, which they didn't officially kind of turn off till January 2021. So almost 2 years between what they said and what they actually did. So that's an important distinction. I think everybody needs to kind of think in those terms.
If you're quick to act on Google's guidelines, you could be missing out on opportunity for more traffic. I personally still use the gold stars schema and get excellent click-through rates till to this day. It still works for me. I received an email from iPullRank promoting a webinar, and Mike King covers the topic we briefly spoke about last week on Zipf's Law. Let's listen in onto what he has to say.
So another concept that I want to drill home here and why I think it's valuable for us to be considering these things, even though a lot of these concepts are pretty old. And, first of all, whenever I see people say, oh, don't look at TF-IDF because it's old, I feel like that's an asinine argument, because just because something old doesn't mean it's valuable. The hypertext transfer protocol is old. FTP is old. All those things are still being used today. But that's my rant. Anyway, so this is a concept called Zipf's Law. And the way it works is that it basically indicates that documents are about the same idea have words similarly distributed across them. So if you and I were to write the same document on the same concept, or an article or blog post on the same concept, we would likely use the same words to describe that concept if we both were considered experts on that concept. And so search engines, a lot of the theory and the math behind search engines is built on this because, there is an understanding of that commonality between expressions of the same concept, so you can then rank things based on that context behind the concept.
I found Mike King's explanation pretty easier to understand. Last week, he goes off talking about TF-IDF and how it relates to Google's Zipf's law. The webinar is a must-watch for all SEOs. Be sure to check it out. The link is in the description. Neil Patel reminds us one of the most significant impacts on SEO. Let's listen in.
I once, over time, I noticed a trend. More and more people were typing in my domain name into Google. So my domain name is neilpatel.com for one of my sites. More people were typing in my name, Neil Patel SEO, Neil Patel tools, Neil Patel Uber Suggest, Neil Patel content marketing, etc. Variations of my name. And what we found is if we didn't build links or anything, but our brand spiked from PR or whatnot, and it spiked for a month or two, all of our rankings skyrocketed. And even when the PR went down and the brand queries went down, our rankings maintained or close to maintained to their peaks. So we found that Google loves brands. Like, we've seen and tested sites in different regions globally. And even if you build links, you write the right content, you're super thorough, we found that if you don't have brand queries, you don't rank as high. But if you have a ton of brand queries and you barely have links or anything like that, your rankings skyrocket.
I say this every week. I'm a big fan of brand searches. Whether it's your personal brand or your company's brand, be sure to find ways to increase your branding queries like press releases or event sponsorships. Neil will be a special guest on the show in about 4 weeks, so hit that notification bell. We heard a lot about ranking with no backlinks, little or no backlinks. Kyle Roof explains the Compound Seo Theory on how this is a real thing. Let's listen in.
The strategy is that there is a natural tier, a natural level that Google will trust you for particular keywords. And if you post content that is within your natural tier, Google will immediately trust you for that. And if you post outside of that tier, then you can still win those terms, but you have to have SEO boosts. SEO boosts are on-page SEO, backlinks, other signals that Google might like, etc. But the concept is that you can be successful in SEO without doing any SEO if you've done proper research and post content within your correct tier. And then as you accumulate clicks and impressions within your tier, you move up to the next tier without doing any SEO, and then you can continue to raise your tier level and continue to succeed without doing quote-unquote SEO to your site. So we're 6 months and some change, almost 7 months in, and you can see that the theory that we've been working with has been completely validated, that within this concept, there have been very little links built. We did a few rounds of citations and some Web 2.0s, but that's it at this point. Otherwise, from scratch, this site has been based off of producing content within our identified tier.
So how do you create content in your tier? I suspect it's creating semantic content using tools like Cluster AI, Inlinks, or Keyword Cupid. Be sure to tune in next week as I bring in the founder of Keyword Cupid, Leo Soles. On the SEO Fight Club this week, Ted Kopitis covers some SEO checklists.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. The second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
Well, we are talking about Fight Club, and over there, Ted broke down a particular SEO checklist, and Ted shared his own 2,500 item checklist. So be sure to check that out. Do you know who has a free elaborate checklist? My guest today. If you have any questions on making money with SEO, affiliate SEO, local SEO, or any SEO questions, I'm sure Chase can answer them. Okay, let me go ahead and get this thing started here. Hold on. All right.
Chase has been doing SEO for 7 years. In just a few years, he built an SEO agency driving to 40 to 50K a month in revenue. He soon built a business around himself as an SEO educator and affiliate marketer who brings in over 300K in annual revenue. He built an Facebook group to over 10,000 followers and built an SEO following on YouTube with over 46,000 subscribers. Please welcome the Make Money Man, Chase Reiner.
Oh yeah, what's up, my man Chase? How are you doing today? Oh wait, I can't hear you, man. You gotta hold on. Hold on.
There we go. There we go.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Yes. Welcome, my man. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on. I love the intros, man. Those are awesome.
Of course. I first started following you about like 4 years ago when you were doing you were like hosting White Hat, Black Hat, the SEO show or something like that. And it was so cool. And then I watched your journey to the new rebranding of Make Money Man. I mean, I love the fact how you're able to connect with your audience and, build a subscriber like this, to over 50K, man. That's so cool. All right, Chase. Okay, I want to kind of go back to my last little clip there on the SEO Fight Club. I mean, this week they kind of tore apart an SEO checklist. And I know you're pretty big on SEO checklists and you've actually create them and do them. I mean, can you tell me the importance of having a checklist?
Yeah, totally. So when I started out, I didn't have a checklist. I wound up, I ranked my first site a long time ago, about 5 years ago for SEO in my town. And I started getting clients and I was like, you know what? I need a checklist because I was doing all my audits manually. I was writing it all out on a notepad and, I was like, dude, there's got to be a better way. So one day I kind of sat down and was like, all right, I'm just going to write everything out into a checklist. That way I can, do one after another without having to go and redo the full audit every single time I went on a new client's website.
Got it. And then did you find that a lot more helpful for you for your process and everything like that and save time?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't think I would have been able to scale to what I was able to scale to when I was running my agency without having some sort of checklist. And the cool thing about checklists is that you're able to automate what you're doing and you're able to what I wound up doing is I actually put video tutorials for each section of the checklist. So if I would do the checklist, but then I would actually send it to other people so they could help me actually implement the changes from that checklist.
Got it. And then you actually started doing it, it started becoming more of you started giving it away, your own checklist, right? You're giving it away for free, or were you selling it, or was it some kind of lead gen for you? How'd that go? And how does it work? I mean, was it a good lead magnet?
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the ways that I was able to grow my email list was by giving away a template, was giving away that checklist. And I would go on YouTube and every YouTube video I'd say, hey, make sure you go grab my checklist because, it's going to help you do all the things that maybe you didn't learn from this video. And one of the best things that you can do, I think, online is, start growing an email list because you don't know if tomorrow or the next day or whenever, you might lose all your traffic. And so it's very important to create some sort of opt-in or template that works for your business that you can use to help automate your own business, but then other people want to grab that and automate theirs.
Oh man, dropping those knowledge bombs already. All right, guys, if you're gonna have an online business, you gotta build that email list, which is something that I'm gonna start doing. I mean, I like this whole checklist thing. I mean, I do see value in checklists too, because I mean, hey, it does help people, right? You just kind of learn from what you do and you share it, and that's totally awesome. But you know what, Jace? Let's rewind this a little bit. All right, we need to turn back the clock and see how did Chase get into SEO. Let's take it all the way back.
All right, yeah, I wish I could give you that whole intro that you made, just put it on there, just all right, time to put the intro on. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how far we want to go back, but I remember I got fired from a job. Yeah. I think it was 6 years ago. I was working at a sushi restaurant, and I was so bummed because I had no experience. I never I dropped out of high school, dropped out of college, And I remember just feeling like I don't have any skills. I don't have, any sort of direction. My dad died when I was like 16. So like I was just lost, dude. And I was like, I think I was like 19 years old. And I remember like applying. I was applying to all these different jobs. I applied to like Taco Bell. I applied to, all these fast food restaurants. And then at one job I applied to was Radio Shack. And I really wanted to get that job because I was like, dude, if I can get a job at Radio Shack, then I can learn about computers, because I've always liked computers. Like I would show up to classes in high school, but only if they were about technology or computers. And I would actually, those are the only classes that I would get good grades on. So anyways, I wound up getting hired at Radio Shack, thank God, because I don't know where I'd be if I would have got hired at Taco Bell. But I was at Radio Shack, and these people would come in with their business cards, and they'd say, hey, we need help fixing they'd ask for business cards because they'd need help fixing their computers. So I wound up creating some business cards and handing them out. And then I created my first website. I just learned something on YouTube, and wound up getting hired by this other company that they needed help with their web design, and I didn't know anything about it, but it kind of just snowballed. And then I learned about SEO because they said they needed help with SEO. Mm-hmm. And then I wound up outranking everybody in my town. As soon as I found out about SEO, I was like, dude, it was such a big moment for me, because I was like, dude, if I can start making money online, like that'll change the game. I won't have to show up to work. I won't have to, I don't have to fix computers, and I can make money like when wherever I want. And I got really good at SEO. I started outranking everybody. And then I asked the company that was number one here for a job. I said, you know what? I outranked you guys. I'd like a job. And so they hired me for like $15 an hour. And you can cut me off at any point if you want.
Oh, no. So you just told the guys to hire you, like, hey, man, I'm ranking higher for you. It's like, so you told them to hire you?
Well, and so here's the thing. I wouldn't have done that if I would have actually got customers from that ranking, but I figured out that everybody who was in my town that was searching, because it said it was like 300 searches a month, I found out that they were all my competitors. Like nobody was actually looking up SEO. And so
you got some magic there, man.
Yeah. So, and that's one of the things I'll tell you if you're brand new and you're like, I want to rank for SEO in my town because I see their searches. Don't do it, because a lot of those people that are ranking for those keywords are people that are looking to, they're searching those topics because they want to rank. It's not because they're looking for those services. But anyways, I
drop those knowledge bombs. Keep it local, right? Keep it local. And it seems like how you started there too. So yeah, so you got that going. You got them to hire you. Continue, man.
Yeah, and sorry, I got this like set up. I need to get your set up, but it's kind of like it's dangling over here. So yeah, I outranked everybody. I got hired by the company that was number one. I worked there for a year. I saved about $7,000, and I wound up moving into a garage. And that was the first time I was actually able to leave my parents' house when I was like 21. Parent, so I still live with my mom. Mm-hmm. And so I moved into this garage. It was terrible. There was no windows. There was no, like, the bathroom, you had to like walk outside and go, like, it was pretty bad. I mean, for somebody that is like 21 years old, it's not terrible. And I'm sure like it's a lot worse in like third world countries. But like for me, like living in an actual house, I lived in a mobile home actually. My mom could barely afford a house. And so anyways, I wound up living there for about a year. And while I was there, I started my YouTube channel. And what I would do is I would go live every day for like an hour at a time. And then I would do three to four of those a day. So I'd be doing like 3 to 4 hours of live streaming every single day. And I would just be showing people how to rank their websites. And I would be like, hey, here's how you rank your website. Here's how you rank your website. And eventually I started getting people calling me and asking for services. And then I started making some money. But it was really tough when I first started out, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So wait, I'm curious. Let's take it back a little bit, because you started already like doing live streams, but I'm curious, like, how did you learn how to do SEO? Were you like reading books? I mean, I know you kind of mentioned watching YouTube. Was there anyone you're following? Any like websites you're going to?
So when I started out, I started just reading as much as I could. I started reading blogs. So I would just go on Google and I would just read whatever people had to write. I would go on the different news sites like Search Engine Land, and I would read from them, and I would go on YouTube and I'd learn from, at the time, I think it was probably like Neil Patel and this other guy on there called Josh Brzezinski. I think you know who that is because of the that show. But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of people doing videos back then. Yep. I think we're a lot more fortunate now. I mean, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot of courses. There was some, but definitely like if I would have started now, I would have it would have been, I think, easier for me to get to, the next level just because of how much more information is available. Back then, it was literally just me. I was just reading a bunch of stuff.
Nice. Hey guys, if you guys want to learn, there's nothing wrong with reading a lot of things. I mean, Chase did it and built a huge following on YouTube. What's that? Almost 50,000 people that subscribe there. I mean, let's go ahead and give some shouts out to everyone here in the chat. We have Justin saying, what's up to you? The amount of value that Chase gives is unmatched. So much good info. Garth over here says self-made, impressive. What's up, Garth? Okay. So Chase, I mean, you actually, we're going live. I mean, you were ahead of your time because, again, this was something that I actually observed when you were doing it, and you actually had all this engagement with your audience, and you were able to get like instant feedback, which I think is like huge for like anyone who's trying to start a business. And so I'm curious, like once you started doing live streams, how did you start making money from that part?
Right. So I wasn't making a lot of money when I started. I think the best I could do at that time was like I was making like $300 a month off of like one client. And so I wasn't making any money off of YouTube ads. I wasn't making any money off of, what I'm doing now, like software or courses or any of that stuff. So at the time it was really, really difficult. And I remember like there was one point in time where I almost had to move back into my mom's house because I was like had like I think like $800 or $500 left in my bank, and I was wondering how am I going to pay rent? It was really rough, and so I remember like I started doing these audits. I was doing audits like 24/7. So I started doing the tutorials on the YouTube channel, but eventually I just started only kind of doing the audits. That was kind of how people got to know me in the YouTube world. I was just like the audit guy. And so I created that checklist, and I was doing audits for all these clients. Actually, I don't even think I had the checklist then. I was just still doing them on a notepad. And I started getting paid like $200 an audit, and I would live stream them. And I figured out that if I live streamed what I did, I could not only just get content, but I could also sell services and make money. So I think that the thing that was unique was that, I wasn't just creating content, and not, a lot of people, they'll create content, they won't make any money off of it. And you won't for a while. When you start out, you're not going to really have a huge following. But when you use the services that you sell as a way to create content, it kind of allowed me to stay afloat while I was still building up my YouTube channel.
Wow. So you kind of like double dip there. I'm like, hey man, if you're using it, might as well use it to help you sell. That's very, very smart. A great way to make money. And that goes into like your affiliate marketing career, right? I mean, you're still doing affiliate marketing right now. Can you tell us more about like how you've been so successful in affiliate marketing?
Yeah, so I actually haven't done like a crazy amount of affiliate marketing opposed to some of the people that I follow. I make a good amount from it. Like for instance, like this one product that I started promoting called Conversion AI, I think it's like making me like just from like a month ago, like probably like $4,000 a month. But I wasn't really amazing. I've ever really been amazing at affiliate. I kind of just, what I will do is just like do reviews on the tools that I use, and then I will link to them and say, hey, you can use it, or I recommend people to use it. But that was actually one of the big mistakes I had when I started out with in the industry, is like I was doing all these videos and I never grabbed affiliate links until like years later, and I was doing all these tutorials for these companies. So like the two biggest mistakes that I made when I started was, not having an email list, not capturing my traffic. I was getting all these views, but like I looked at my analytics like, a year ago or so, and I'm like, dude, 70% of the people watching my stuff are new people, and I'm not capturing that traffic. So most of the people who saw me years ago, they don't even know who I am anymore. And the second thing was not getting them, hooked up with my tools, because I would still be making money to this day if I would have, taken my first tutorial and did an affiliate on it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have any like special tips or secrets on how to make money with affiliates, other than just make sure you have your links. If you're using a tool, make sure you have a link to it if you're going to be telling people about it. But obviously you're not going to make any money with affiliates until you start creating content. So that's really the biggest thing. I wouldn't even worry about making money or monetizing until you actually start getting traffic.
Love it. Dropping those knowledge bombs, guys. I mean, we all learn from people's mistakes to make, have a shortcut to success. And learning from your mistake on, don't forget affiliate links. And while you're creating content for other people, I mean, that's something that we should all learn from. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, let's go back here to the chat. We have Amon saying Chase Checklist is really amazing. We have also Bradley Burney saying Yeah, he has great checklists. So everyone's like loving your checklist, and I think, do you have more than one checklist? Is it because I know I knew you have a Google Drive or a Google Sheet that you share out sometimes, and I think I have access to it. I mean, I know I've watched your shows and downloaded those stuff too, but I mean, is it more than just one checklist? Is it more than just an SEO checklist? Do you have like other checklists out there?
Yeah, so I have like a couple. I have like a local SEO checklist. I have the main checklist, and then I was making at one point like an automation checklist. But I kind of actually been, I've kind of been like consolidating everything. And to be honest with you, what my goal has been lately is like I've been building software that will fix a lot of those issues on the checklist automatically. So, one of the big issues that I never was able to figure out was, I got all these people wanting these audits. At one point I was getting like hundreds of people per month asking me for SEO audits. And like, that's a good amount of money if you sell the audits, but I stopped doing services because I didn't want to deal with all the clients. I didn't want to have to deal with like, oh, when's the work going to get done or who's going to do it? Or, all that stuff that you have to think about. And so what I did is, first of all, I realized I'm like, I don't want to do services. So I started doing courses. I had enough success. I was able to rank for things like full body workout and, these different bed reviews, like very hard keywords to rank for. And I made hundreds of thousands of dollars with SEO services. And I said, you know what, I'm at the point where I think I can teach it. And I always taught it on YouTube, but I didn't really sell it as courses. And so I think it was like 2 years ago, I realized I'm like, all right, I'm going to switch from doing services to doing courses. And I started doing these courses, and when I started the courses, it was like when I started the services, I wasn't making really any money. And so if, anything you do, don't just jump ship. Like, at least for me, my tendency is like, okay, let me just go full send. And like, if I want something, I'm just going to drop everything else and go for it. And that's not always the best strategy. Like if you have a 9-to-5 job, and you listen to Tony Robbins and he's like, hey, leave the 9-to-5 and just don't sleep and work and become an SEO. That's not always the best idea. I wish I would have stayed at that SEO agency and then started kind of my own side gig and slowly migrated over to it. But I actually, because I learned that lesson from being in the garage before and not really having that work out too well, I wound up keeping some of my clients. And then I started doing the courses while I had a couple clients, and I actually used those clients as ways to build case studies and then bring people into courses. But to answer your question about the checklist, what I wound up doing is I started these courses. I made about 200 hours of courses.
Oh, wow.
Lots and lots of courses. Actually, I think, I don't want to plug them, but
no, I want you to plug it. We want the audience to know about these courses, 200 hours. Let us know what we can learn about on them.
If you go to mrmoneyman.tv, you can go find them. But basically what I wound up doing is I took all of the courses, I took all of the checklists, and I started building tools. I'm like, you know what, all this information, it needs to be consolidated into something that people can use as like a, push this button and make it work. And so lately what I've been doing is I've been building these tools that have like help you automate the process. But that's been kind of its own adventure lately as well. I got all kinds of stuff around that.
I've actually started seeing some of those videos come out on your tools. I mean, I remember there's one tool that you're making on cutting videos for you, like automating the cutting of the pauses and stuff like that, ahs and ums and stuff like that. I don't know where that went, but I'm curious, like how are you doing this yourself? Are you coding it yourself, or are you finding developers? And actually, like, where are you finding like some of these developers? Because I'm curious.
Yeah, so what I do is I just hire people for like one-off tasks. I'll go on somewhere like Fiverr and I will give them $100 and I'll say, hey, make this little product. And it really just depends. Like, I trust my gut. So if it seems like they're not reliable or they're not very quick with what they do or they don't care, then I don't hire them. And so far my gut's has done pretty well. I've been finding people that have been helping me build cool stuff. And one of the things recently that I learned is that, we were building this tool and I realized that like, well, it's a whole nother story, but
we got lots of time.
I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but basically like when you create tools, you want to build them as native to you as much as possible. And so what we did is we created this script that was running on top of this tool called Conversion AI. Mm-hmm. And what Conversion AI does, for those of you who don't know, it basically helps you auto-generate content. Well, I wanted to generate more content. I've always been the kind of person that's like, hey, how can we take something and push it to the limit? Well, it turns out that they weren't too happy about that. And so they basically said, hey, you have to stop selling this tool. But then I was like, okay, well, I want to build our own tool then. So lately what I've been doing is like going into learning about like deep learning and like AI, and the idea is that my next venture is building my own AI that will end up, helping automate a lot of the SEO tasks.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Okay, I love that tip. If anyone didn't remember what Chase just said, like if you want to find like test out some developers, go to Fiverr and just test them out for a small gig, and then if your gut says that they're good and responsible, hire them. Dude, man, you're dropping some knowledge bombs here. Okay, you know what? Let's go into the chat here. We have Justin here saying, we don't talk about Chase's checklist. Shh. Oh man, you're such a funny guy, Justin. Funny. But we are talking about him. He's sharing up. All right, let's go. We have Don here. Don, Chase gives away more free advice, tools, and software. 99% so-called gurus who charge thousands and thousands. The elites group he is building is. Oh man, it got cut off. Can you finish that, Chase? What elite group is he talking about?
Oh, so that's kind of what I wound up doing is I took all of my courses, my tools, my recordings, everything that I have, my templates, and I put it into one subscription. It's like $97 a month. Because what happens is as you start to build all this stuff, it gets really complicated. You have people buying stuff over here, you have people buying stuff over there, and you have all these people asking you questions about, all these different things. And I wound up building so many different things that I'm like, you know what? It's just so much easier to create this membership. And so what I was making when I was doing those courses, I told you about that. I was making at the peak time, I think I made about, per month, I was making, some of the courses were selling for like $50,000 to $60,000 within a week time span.
Wow.
I was like, yeah. And I was really stoked about it. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much money.
That's really good.
But it was really stressful because I'd have to make that money within a week time period. And then I would have to go and do it every month. And what happened is, as I was building these courses, I started to really get tired of saying the same thing over and over again. I was like on local SEO course number 5, and people would enroll for it, and we'd get 50 people paying $300. But then, a lot of, there'd be some people that would show up and they'd be the same people, and they'd be like, how is this course different? Mm-hmm. And I have to tell them like, no, it's not. It's the same thing. Like, you don't have to show up. Like you're already bought it. Like, why are you buying the same course? But that's the thing, is people will keep buying the same thing over and over because they are hoping that it'll fix, whatever their problem is. And I found that most people's problem is that they just don't want to do stuff. They just want to sit back and not do anything. Which I'm not saying that, that's my audience in general, but, I have seen that, with the course industry, you're always having to hype up new things when really a lot of the time you're talking about the same stuff. And so I got really tired of that. And so I thought, well, why don't I just make a membership? Mm-hmm. That way, I can still do these courses. I don't have to worry about, promoting them every month. I can promote them when I want, and at least I have reoccurring income. I don't have to worry about, oh, I only made 50,000 or I only made 10,000 this month when last month I made like 60,000. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying 10,000 isn't a lot. I'm just saying that, it's stressful when you don't really know what your income is going to be. So I started this membership, and I call it the Elites Group. And it was originally, it was like $1, and it was $27 a month. It was $1 for a 7-day trial, and then $27 a month. And I got a lot of people signing up for it. And then I kind of raised the price as we got, more stuff going on in there. We started adding some of the templates, started adding some of the courses, started adding some of the tools. And now lately it's been $97 a month, but I've just been slowly rising it like every few months. And right now we have about 600 members, and that's bringing in almost 30 grand a month, which is cool. And I'm hoping to grow it to at least like, 6 figures per month. That'd be really cool.
Damn, that's some gold you got there. Which is good. Goals are awesome, man. So guys, if you think about doing courses, maybe you should think about doing a membership site, because I mean, it can get pretty tiresome, and people may complain like the same stuff. But that's right, Chase. I mean, you got it where it's like just have a group, have access to everything, be there for them, and you could actually act as a mentor to them, right? Like a coach to like a coach to all of them. Do you have like private like sessions, like Zooms or anything like that goes on in there?
Yeah, so mainly what we've been doing now is just like weekly sessions. So I was doing for a while, I was doing like daily, Monday through Friday, I was doing them at 12 p.m. But then I realized I'm like, well, I'm building these tools now. So I've been more focusing on those lately. But originally it was really just me trying to coach people and bring them into like the mindset of, hey, here's how you make money online. And I was showing them different ways of how, I was making money on TikTok and YouTube and wherever else. And, but, the problem again is, when you're constantly showing people how to do things, it's hard to keep coming up with new stuff. And so it got to the point where I was like, you know what, I want to create software, because at least then, I can teach people around my own products versus other people's products. And it's funny because it's like, I guess I consider myself not really good at affiliate marketing, but I am pretty good, because all of the stuff that I've really done has really just been around other people's products, how to use Google Analytics or Google Search Console or, SEMrush or Conversion AI, like all of my tutorials, I'm talking about these other tools. And really, if you want to sell a tool really well, you have to be good at educating and teaching people how to do it. Now, the only difference that I'm doing now is instead of going and doing that for other people's tools, I want to start educating people on the tools that I'm building myself.
Love it. Okay, if you're down with OPP to making money on other people's products, try and check that out. Your overhead will be low. Okay, we have a fun question here from Hobby. Hobby's asking, hey Chase, do you have a favorite YouTube show like Joe Rogan Experience, for example?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that. I try not to spend too much time watching things. Like usually what I do is I'll figure out what I need to do and then I'll go learn it. But I found that like for me, when I just go and read like random books or watch like random like educational things, it makes me more ADD than it does seem to help me. So what I normally do is I figure out what I want to do. And like recently I figured out that I wanted to build an app, but I didn't know what I wanted to build and I didn't know how to build it. And so my goal was like, just start learning. Like I'm a big believer that it's like, kind of like the mentality that I have is, if you want to learn Spanish, go to a Spanish speaking country and just go stand around people, because you're just going to start learning it like just by being there. And so what I think is like, figure out what this language is you want to speak. Everybody speaks different languages, whether it's they speak a coding language, whether they speak an actual different language, whether they speak the language of making money, but you want to keep your mindset, or I want to keep my mindset frame in the place where I want to go. And so that's one of the reasons why I changed the name on my YouTube channel from Chase Reiner to Make Money Man, is because I want to talk about making money. And my name was always associated with SEO. And so I was thinking, hey, maybe it'd be easier for me personally to frame it differently if I don't have to keep thinking of my brand as the guy that only talks about SEO.
Oh man, I was just about to ask you that. Awesome segue to that. But but before that, like you were just actually talking about programming in languages. We had a question here from Garth asking, what are you programming these little apps in? Or what language, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so right now we've been starting a lot of our apps with Python, which is like I think it's like machine learning, where it's really mainly meant for automating tasks and scraping data. But we might end up going to like PHP so we can start building WordPress plugins. I'm only like 2 or 3 weeks into building software, so I'm like not really the person to ask on what you should use as your coding language to build stuff. And in fact, the script that we wrote for Conversion AI was not a very complicated script. But we wound up making, I think just off that one script alone, it was like somewhere over $100,000. So nice. A lot of these things online that you can do are really just like, they're easy to come up with. You just come up with an idea and you take it to somebody and you figure out what you got to do to build it. That's I think one of the biggest opportunities that I don't think a lot of people are thinking about right now is like, how easy it is to take what you're doing and automate it with some sort of tool. If you could take anything that you knew, like for instance, if you could take what you knew about this, the live broadcasting that you're doing right now and turn it into a like plug and play tool where they click a button and now they have your setup. I mean, people pay a lot of money for that. You basically, the idea is you want to create something, or I want to create something that I wish I had 5 years ago when I first started doing SEO. One of the big things lately I found is like, I wish I had something that would automatically create landing pages for my clients, because, one of the easiest ways to rank on Google locally is just generate content that, is local based. And so that's what I've been working on with the AI stuff.
Excellent.
Love it. Okay. All right. We got another question. Okay. Actually, we have another question from Garth. What Were you promoting your courses through your own network only? Like where were you promoting your courses?
Yeah, I would just do it through my YouTube channel. Like,
oh, wow.
I never really had people help me with I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of the stuff that I've done all myself. So like I will give credit to some of the people that help mentor me. There's this one guy named Paul James that you should get that guy on. He's awesome. Yeah, I had a lot of people help me in the sense of giving me information on what to do. But in terms of like selling stuff and, and building and doing services, most of that stuff I did myself. And the thing that I wish I would have known when I did that was like, I wish I had more frameworks. And that's why I built that SEO checklist. And that's why I'm building these SEO tools, is because it's like, it's really hard to do things when you're starting out without knowing what the processes are, like what's the step-by-step. And so I think the quicker, if you're learning SEO or if you're learning anything, making money, whatever you're learning, is like figure out somebody who already has some sort of template or some sort of tool that makes what makes the task easier. But the idea is that the tool and the thing that you get is supposed to take what you're already sort of doing or what you sort of already understand and make it go faster. If you're just using this as a way to make money, like if you're like, oh, if I'm going to go grab a tool and it's going to make all the money for me, that's the wrong mindset, because the tools are meant to amplify. And so if you're not making any money, you're going to amplify that, right? It's just going to be 0 times 0. But if you're making $200 and you use a tool, then maybe it'll help. But I think so many people get like shiny object syndrome, and they start buying all these things and they don't need them, because at the end of the day, it just comes down to, like, for instance, if I started doing content for a client, but I didn't have any clients, then the tool's not going to help me. I have a different issue.
Yep. All right, dropping those knowledge bombs. Okay, Amon here says right mindset matters. I mean, it seems like you got yourself in the right mindset. So what does Chase do to get in the right mindset? I mean, is there anything that you meditate? Like, when you think about this, I know you're solving problems like we were just talking about. I mean, so what gets you in the right mindset?
Yeah, good question. So I think the thing that I focus on is not necessarily what I do, but what I don't do. And there's some really important things that I avoid in order to get to my next goal. For instance, one of them is playing video games. I used to have a huge addiction to playing video games, like World of Warcraft and, just different games online. And so I try to stay away from the things that I get sucked into. And I try to think about it this way. It's like, is what I'm doing right now limiting my helpfulness to others? If I'm spending all my time playing video games, how helpful am I being as a person, and how much am I contributing to this planet? I don't want to, and I also have this philosophy. I read a book one time about Buddhism, and they're like, they don't hurt anything. They don't hurt the worms. They don't hurt the flies. And it's because, they think that they might come back in another life, and they might be that thing. Mm-hmm. And so like my goal is like, hey, well, maybe I can say something or do something in this lifetime, maybe, and I'm not saying that this is true or not, but maybe it is the case, that will end up helping me in a different lifetime, or maybe it'll help me, somehow. And so that might sound selfish in a way, because it's like, oh, well, I'm trying just doing things to help myself. But the truth is like, everybody's living in different mindsets. And so I want to try to contribute to their mindset as much as possible and help bring others up. And so I'm going to limit that by doing the things that I should probably avoid. I still mess up though. I still eat sugar and do all the, stuff that I'm pretty sure all humans do. But yeah, it's a work in progress. And I think that's the next thing is, what do I do is, I used to not be very spiritual. I didn't have any religious beliefs. I still I don't believe like in certain things, but I believe in energy, and I believe that if you do the right thing, good things happen. And so what I focus on is doing the right thing and not having an expectation around it. A good example of this is we just moved into this new house over here, and we were looking for all these different houses, and they kept telling us, no, you can't move here. And we were all bummed about it. But the whole entire time I was like, no, the reason why they're telling us no is because we're about to find this awesome place. And it turns out we got this awesome place, and it's got all this land and fruit trees and whatever, and it's awesome. But if I would have been in that negative mindset, maybe it wouldn't have worked out, because then I would have just been, oh, well, I'm going to move somewhere else. I'm not even going to, So I think one of the best things you can do is, besides avoiding the things that aren't meant for you, is having some faith that doing the right thing will end up leading to good things.
Man, we're getting deep with Chase. Man, dropping those deep knowledge bombs. Love it. I mean, I'm a fan of positive energy and affirmations. Just like thinking positive is something the way I love living myself. I mean, we got. Well, let me see. We got a couple more questions here before we're coming close to time. Let me go ahead and take this by Vinod. Vinod, is Pbn good or bad?
We didn't even go into the link stuff, did we? Man, I don't even.
What's your take on it?
So a couple of the biggest questions that I've got, and I've gotten thousands of questions. I have a Facebook group that had like 35,000, 40,000 SEO people in it, YouTube channel with like all these SEO people in it. And I've done probably over, 2,000 or 3,000 SEO live streams. And I get this question almost every single time. Are PBNs good? Is link building dead? And then there's like a few other ones as well, like how should I set up my URL architecture? But anyways, the Pbn question, the problem is like, I don't even know how to answer it, because I think if somebody's focused on, if their business is ranking websites with links, I personally think they're in the wrong business. And the reason why is because, it's been 20 years since Google came out with their algorithms, right? I think it might have even been more. And they've been saying I don't even know how long, that you shouldn't build links. So should you build links or Pbn links? I think that's up to you. But I think the real question is, should you make money by ranking people on Google? That's like the real question. And I think there's a lot of money to be made ranking people on Google, but whenever I sell something to clients, I don't sell them rankings. I don't sell them, hey, I'm going to rank you number one. I sell them like, hey, I'm going to get you more leads. I'm going to get you more traffic. And ultimately, I'm going to improve your business. I don't focus on the rankings. I don't even tell them like, hey, this would be a keyword that would be cool. But I don't even like, when they sign up with me, they don't even care. They're just like, hey, get me some more business. And so I think a lot of the people who do the link building and the PBNs and stuff, it's like, if that's the only way that you can do that, which is, if the only way you can increase somebody's business is by doing Pbn links, which is like one of the most outdated tactics in the SEO industry, then I think the bigger issue is like figuring, I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to go too far into it because I'm really biased around it, but the point I'm trying to make is like, do whatever you want as long as it makes you money. If you spend time doing it and it doesn't make you money, or you see a bunch of other people doing it and maybe they're making money, just follow what works. Follow what other people are doing, and if it works for them, then it'll probably work for you.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so I wanted to go really quickly, if you can name the top 3 things that have made you the most money doing SEO, what would those 3 things be?
3 things: selling services. That was the first thing. I think I've made, and here's the thing. When I say making money, that doesn't mean that I necessarily made all that money, because there's a difference between gross profit and net profit. When I made $50,000 a month on my SEO agency, I was actually making like 10 or 15K a month net. If that, who knows, probably even less. You put in taxes and whatever else. So SEO services, I made a bunch of money, but the overhead was really high. I think I don't even know how much I made. It's probably like within services, probably anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million within like gross revenue. But net profit, probably pretty bad. With courses, super high net profit. I think I made probably just as much with courses, maybe even a little bit more, as the services. But the cool thing is like there was barely any overhead. I mean, I spent a lot of money on ads, so that was really, some of the big overhead. But other than that, wasn't really that much. But the biggest overhead, the thing that I've actually recently made the most money with, is with tools, because you build these tools. But the cool part about it is the tools kind of build themselves in a sense. When you buy developers to build these tools, you're making money on the tool, but you're also putting money into the tool and the tool grows. If you make money on a course, the course doesn't really grow. It just kind of sits there and stagnates. When you make money off of a service, it's not your business, it's somebody else's. So I think one of the best things you can do is build your own products. And even if you're going to be doing SEO, build your own websites that are going to make money. Like for instance, Neil Patel, it's awesome you're going to get him on here. You know, he makes all his money from his own stuff. He doesn't, you know, he does. I know he does like has other people doing the services part, but you know, that's still the point is you want to automate it and you want to grow your business rather than other people's business as your main thing. If you end up building other people's businesses as like a side thing, I think that's great. But you know, your main thing should be like putting as much money and time into the business that you're actually developing.
Oh man, great knowledge bomb to drop right there. All right, okay. My last question I asked to all my SEO professionals who come on the show is like, if someone wants to get into the SEO game, get in the SEO industry, become an SEO professional, what would your advice be to them?
If they want to get started, I would say, you know, just don't give up. But yeah, I mean, I think everybody has their own way of finding and doing things. And so I would say is like, if you have a goal, set the goal and like focus on that goal and don't like look at your failures as failures. Look at it as learning lessons. Like if I would have had to see all the stuff that I had to go through in order to get to where I'm at, you know, I would have probably never done it. And because it's just too scary. But that's why it's cool, because you can take it one step at a time. You can be like, hey, I want to do this. Start work with something simple. Start by ranking your own local website. Do that first. You know, feel the victory of that. Have small victories. Everybody's like wants to. Well, a lot of people they look at what somebody's done out there and they go, oh well, Neil Patel made $100,000 a month within his first year, and it's like, yeah, but you know. Maybe he had other things go, like we don't know. We can't compare our insides to other people's outsides. And so, you know, take it slow. It was a different time back then. You know, it was a lot, you know, different scenery. Maybe he got in at a better time. But just do what you want to do and don't do the things that you don't want to do. Like, you know, if you go and start doing SEO and you're like, dude, this is super technical, I hate it, then go do something else. You know, do what makes you happy. I think the ultimate lesson is not necessarily what to buy or what to sign up for, or, you know, what's the next hack. It's like, you know, just figure out something that you enjoy and help other people with that thing. Like really figure out why you want to do it and how it's going to actually end up affecting other people and helping them. And then I think ultimately you'll be able to grow that.
Yes. What a way to end the show. Chase, thank you so much for being my special guest. I mean, if there's any last anything else that you want to say for the audience to hear to make this episode feel complete for you, I mean, how can people get a hold of you? Hey, the floor is yours. Plug whatever you can. How can people find you?
Yeah. So I don't feel like I need too many plugs because I don't really want to be doing a whole pitch right here, but
no. It's for the audience. This is how we all learn, right? That's how we learn.
Yeah. So like I said, if you want to join we have a membership. It's like $97 a month. It's MrMoneyman.tv. Got a YouTube channel. I'm sure it'll be linked, whatever. But yeah, do good things. If you get anything from the video, just do good things and build cool stuff.
Love it. Okay, if you can hold on for just one quick second as I sign off here real quick. All right, guys, that concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and to get notified when we go live next week. All right, have a great weekend. I'll see you next Friday. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, cause the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre de Vera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!